Alright guys, TechRabbit here again today, and same drill as yesterday. I'm going to be speaking pretty quiet. My voice isn't gone as it was yesterday, which is great news, but I'm still going to be speaking on the down low. So yes, just come back from day 2 of CWL London. Absolutely insane day of action, of course, as the title will show you, and I'm sure you guys already know about this controversy, FaZe versus LG. We'll get into that as the video goes on here, because it was a crazy turn of events. So yeah, like if you guys enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always to the channel, and yeah, I met another lot of you guys today. Awesome to meet you all, and tomorrow is going to be even better because the crowd is really ramping up. I'll probably put a clip towards the end of the video or something of what was going on. It was just fantastic stuff today, in a lot of aspects. Other aspects not so good for the UK crowd, I guess. So yeah, we'll go through that in today's video, and yeah, like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, the good stuff. United versus 100 Thieves was the first match on main stage. Didn't really get much chance to watch this one because I was watching the other three because I felt like, you know, I had to watch Reciprocity try and make something of a run. So yeah, I'll kind of breeze through this because of course all we're really talking about here is the FaZe vs LG. I'm sure that's what you guys are interested in. So yeah, 100 Thieves got the better of United early on. A very tightly fought series in a couple of the maps, but 100 Thieves pulled away. Of course, a big round in winners round 1 that 100 Thieves managed to get through. Gen G just smoked UYU. This was honestly phenomenal because Gen G were currently 9-1 tournament map count, 3-0 versus Splice, 3-0 versus LG, 3-1 against Denial. Then they come in and beat UYU incredibly comfortably. It was like a 30-minute series. It was super swift. Reciprocity managed to take down EG, an impressive win from them. Top 16 from EG is not what well, they were hoping for, but Reciprocity at least starts to make some sort of a run here because, yeah, actually winning in game 4s, which is impressive for Reciprocity. Usually we see it go all the way to game 5 when they manage to make something happen, but yeah, so Rick, yeah, they win at least a couple of series. Difficult for EG, of course, coming top 16 again, having had such a tough pool, managing to beat this NV team that has now gone all the way to top 6. Yeah, it's very difficult for them, but that's the thing when you get a tough pool and then you match with a team as good as Reciprocity straight out that pool A. Then we have Denial versus Midnight, and, well, this is pretty tragic, to be honest, because, well, Denial, of course, came into this event hoping for the best, and they finished top 16, lose to Midnight with a substitute. Pretty inexcusable loss, in my opinion. Midnight were playing very solid, though. They had a good series against United later on, so Midnight were impressively good, I thought, this event, to be honest. Denial have a lot to work on and improve on. Bance was looking very solid for the most part. Brack was very good as well. Search and Destroy, he was right up there on the best KDs. So, yeah, some promise for Denial, but definitely not the event they were looking for. Then on main stage, Optic versus FaZe. This was a convincing series. Optic looking once again phenomenal. They didn't lose a single map today. TJ and Scump once again playing excellent. Karma's right up there on the KD charts as well, which is incredibly scary stuff for Optic Gaming. Like the form they're playing in right now, I don't think anyone can beat them. It just depends whether they drop off very slightly, and then, you know, they're going to be playing 100 Thieves tomorrow again. Maybe then they have a chance to, you know, potentially something can happen. But on this form, Optic do seem pretty immortal right now. So yeah, they beat FaZe relatively comfortably here. Wasn't particularly close, I think, this series. Every single map seemed like Optic were in control of it. Then Heretics versus Splice, and Heretics take the better of this one. This was impressive stuff because Splice, of course, had smoked Denial 3-0 on main stage, lost 3-0 to Denial on to Gen G, and now they play Heretics, and Heretics get the better of them. So at least a European team still going in the tournament here. NVB E6-3-1 as kind of expected. Elevate versus LG was an interesting series as well. Went all the way to a game 5, round 11. LG were 5-2 up in the final game, and Elevate brought it all the way back to a round 11. LG closed it out because Gunless went off. Reciprocity beat UYU to keep their hopes alive in the tournament. So yeah, once again, you know, of course, EG and UYU not the most impressive wins for Reciprocity, but it's still given something for the fans to cheer about here in the UK. Then United versus Midnight was an interesting one. Went all the way to the game 5. Splice versus Envy. Envy got the better of them, and so knocked Splice out the tournament. We'll have a look through the placings in a second here. And then FaZe versus LG. So this was the big matchup. This was the interesting one. So I'm not sure who took the first couple of maps because we were over at the, well, at the time I was on the other side watching the Reciprocity game against UYU. So I didn't actually come to watch this series until it went all the way to the map 4 because I wanted to watch the other games that were going on over the other side. So I forget who won exactly the first 2 maps, but it was 1-1 going into this control. Now the control was an incredible match, went all the way to the very final round, and we have a very interesting turn of events. I'm sure you guys are aware of it. So this is the best screenshot I could find very quickly. There is a better one than this, but effectively what happened, if you guys aren't aware, 2-2 in the control, the swing game mode. As you can see in the bottom left, Zuma is, well, he's the last one alive. Well, okay, Zuma and Selim are the last ones alive, but Zuma captures the control point, as in the attackers have achieved their objective of capturing the objective, and Slacked comes in, does a two-piece with the gravity slam, and LG get the victory on the screen. Now, it's incredibly interesting because in Search and Destroy, if Zuma was to have defused the bomb and then Slacked comes in with a two-piece and he kills them, but of course they've already completed the objective, then they would, FaZe Clan would win the round. But in Control, it works differently, and this is a very controversial situation. It's difficult to say exactly what Treyarch were thinking implementing this feature, because it is in the game, and it was proven afterwards on Twitter, that in a similar situation, this does occur. If you capture the point, but yet, after capturing, you have these couple of seconds before the game actually ends, where Slacked can come into the hill and, do the grav slam, because there is that time. In other recreations of the situation, the Luminosity win every time. The guys who kill the players that have already captured the objective, they win. Now, in my opinion, this, and pretty much everyone's opinion, this should not be the way it is. It should be that the players who capture the point end up actually winning the map. It makes a lot of sense. However, the way it's coded by Treyarch, this is what happens instead. So, well, it's difficult to say, and as you can see, Slacked isn't in the hill at this point, so it's pretty obvious that Zuma should win this one, and that FaZe Clan should have taken this map to go up 2-1 in the series. But it was only really a matter of time where this issue presented itself on a big stage with big money involved, because Luminosity had supposedly the exact same thing in their group stage match with Denial, but they were on the other end of it, and they actually lost that map. So, as Spoons very rightly pointed out to me earlier today, they cannot have this difference between Luminosity losing a map in pools because of this same ruling. The initial ruling really set the precedent, because if the initial ruling with these LG versus Denial yesterday decided that, yes, okay, LG actually were the ones in the better side of the situation, Denial just killed them after time, but they'd already captured the point, therefore it makes a lot of sense for us to give LG the victory. Because they didn't do that, and they went with what the game says, and they gave Denial the victory yesterday, as far as I understand it, therefore they have to do the same today, realistically. You can't give Luminosity the loss when they were on the better side of it yesterday, and then also give them the loss today when they're on the worse side of it. So unfortunately, that's just the ruling as it is. And it's not like I agree with it, but I can see why it had to be done. I feel like FaZe definitely deserved this map. The pros are not the happiest of bunnies on Twitter, and understandably, this should not be something that's happening 7 months into, such a huge game like Call of Duty and the amount of money that's at stake. This is huge controversy, and I'm sure it will live on for a long time. The crowd were getting very riled up. The referee is a wanker indeed. And wow, yeah, this is just unbelievable stuff. Of course, very unfortunate for FaZe Clan with this turn of events. Interestingly, they went on to the Game 4 and absolutely smoked LG. So it was pretty impressive from them coming off that incredibly difficult loss. It took about 15 minutes for them to figure out who was going to win. Supposedly they got in contact with the CWL because, yeah, apparently they showed the referees footage of this exact thing playing out, and the refs were like, well, and what can we really do about it? Because this was the ruling we gave yesterday when the match didn't really matter as much. And, do we contact the CWL? Exactly what happens. And supposedly no replay was even offered to the two teams. It was just decided that LG won that map, even when they clearly didn't to a layman's eye. So, of course, very big controversy about this one. I'm sure this will live on for a long time to come. And, well, this is not something that should be happening in a game for this standards. It's a feature, not a bug, I don't know. But still something that should not be happening. Okay, sorry the day 2 thing wasn't centralized. I've just fixed that. I didn't get around to doing it. Hopefully it didn't annoy you too much. So yes, moving onwards here. So after that series, it's pretty incredible. The fact that costed FaZe straight out of the tournament was pretty remarkable stuff. And of course, the crowd wasn't exactly favourable for LG for the rest of the turn of events. 100 Thieves versus Genji though, next on main stage. An incredible matchup. Genji went up 2-0. They looked pretty much like impenetrable. And it's very interesting seeing another team really being able to compete with 100 Thieves here, just like Optic did yesterday. Then 100 Thieves just flipped a switch and played some of the best Call of Duty I've seen the whole weekend. You know, Optic have obviously been playing stellar, but in terms of pure how good Call of Duty you can possibly play, 100 Thieves, that hardpoint map 4 was just absolutely perfect. And, you know, Genji, always a team that I was worried about, like, bottling it, you know, when you're on main stage. But here, 100 Thieves just comprehensively outplayed them. At the same time, Reciprocity versus E United was going on. EU win this 3-1. It was just horrible from Reciprocity's perspective. They went down 2-0. They won the control. Then in that map 4, Hassi and the hardpoint, they were up a huge margin, or at least a very reasonable margin. They're up 240 to something like 180, 190, going into that fences rotation. They even had a streak to break it. As the streak came down, the players died. E United got a couple of full wipes. Simp got his own streaks, and E United won the series to progress in the tournament all the way to Championship Sunday. Very disappointing for Reciprocity, of course. If they could have made it onto that main stage tomorrow, that would have been an incredibly exciting one, but unfortunately that's not what we get on our hands. We get E United instead, which is cool in their own right, but it's a bit of a shame how Reciprocity's tournament turned out, really, you know, finishing top 8 with such great expectations and hopes. But the guys did their best, and yeah, at least they didn't completely bomb out top 16. Optic vs Heretics was the main stage matchup. Heretics got pretty close to Optic. They were once again playing a very, very high standard of Call of Duty. Map 1, they were up pretty significantly, like 240 to 130. Heretics brought it back to 200, and then Optic closed it out. But, you know, this kind of been a little bit of a feature of Optic's play when they kind of let teams get back into the game. I wonder if against 100 Thieves tomorrow that will you know, come back to hurt them. I don't know. The game 2, Heretics came really close. Lucky was going off with the sniper. It was very much a treat to watch. You know, one of the only snipers I think in the game that can really compete with Dashi, and probably outplayed Dashi this map. He didn't have the biggest series, but of course doesn't matter when you've got Scump, Tej, Karma going off as well. Karma was a real monster this series, and they ended up winning that game 5, that game 2, round 11. And then yeah, going into the control, it was a pretty easy affair. Heretics haven't been the best control team for my money, you know, most of the season. Optic just didn't look back on their defenses and ended up winning that series 3-0, not dropping a single map on the Saturday, which is very impressive stuff. Meanwhile, Envy take LG down. I think they were down something like 2-4 in this final S&D map. Come back to win 6-4. Decimate goes off in that game 5. And very impressive from them, finally finding their groove here, and they stay alive into Championship Sunday. You never know, Aches versus Optic is still potentially on the cards. So this is the bracket we're looking at right now then. So these were your winners round 1 matchups here, and the winners bracket. Then we have Optic versus 100 Thieves is your winners final. So most likely one of these two teams will win the event. It tends to be whoever wins this will go on to win the championship most likely. In losers bracket, Heretics E United, Genji, Envy for a chance to face off against the loser of these teams to make it all the way to the grand final. So a lot of exciting teams. The matches tomorrow are going to be very spicy indeed. Also, crucial to note, Kairos Esports, which is Josh's team, are going to be facing Mindfreak in the grand final tomorrow at 10 AM. So it's pretty early, and from then you know, things really kick off towards the rest of the day. So yeah, interesting turn of events really, how Kairos beat Aspire in game 5, and then Mindfreak, having lost to Aspire, which is a Fastballer's team earlier on in the tournament, they managed to get their revenge to make the grand final. So an exciting turn of events, maybe even a European team, Kairos will be able to actually take home a trophy. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new as always. I'll see you guys tomorrow at the event, and yeah, it should be a great time. Feel free to come and say hello to me if you do see me around anywhere. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you next time.
Oh my god. Oh.